I mean, every story's been done before. There is no new thing out there, really. It's just the veneer is new. But I think with this, there is such a comment in today's society about being the individual and following your bliss, that every character in almost every film has that not to be understood. I think a departure that we've done is there are consequences. We can't be selfish that way, is that we also live in a world with other people. So we have to be able to find that compromise between following our bliss and not be told what to do, but fit in a world where things are asked of us. And that is what maturity is. So I haven't seen any other film that tackles maturity. The thing that I went to a lot in making this film is comparing it to Peter Pan, where Wendy is sitting there going, I'm getting kicked out of the nursery. Big deal. You know, she realizes that's okay because she's pretty much grown up and she sees everything as childish now. So she's made that turn. While on this, I mean, Meredith is that classic character where she's stuck between adolescence and adulthood. And when you transfer into adulthood, when you transform, which is another theme of the movie, into adulthood, there's real harsh things, that consequences for our actions and our decisions that we have to keep in mind that are going to affect us and others. So Merida goes on this big journey to become mature, to realize not only do I got to be myself, but I got to be myself in such a way that isn't, I'm just blind to everybody else. I need to incorporate my loved ones and others. So I think in that aspect, it's very, very, very unique.
Really, you know, hair and cloth were very, very big in this movie, very difficult. We both started out again in Incredibles, where just trying to get Bob's necktie and shirt and jacket, 3 layers, to work together while he's sitting down and sitting still was extremely difficult. And now we're at a place where we can, you know, put like 8 layers on King Fergus, kilt and tunic and, you know, sword and scabbard and just a bare cloak. Those are things we just didn't know how to do before. So we've learned from every film. And of course, Meredith's hair. We had discussions on past films, do we need to give the characters a haircut? Even Violet on The Incredibles, because it's so long and difficult to simulate. And here we were able to make this hair and make it move and make it wet and make it blow in the wind and make it directable. So those are all things that we built on our experiences with past films.
Yeah, Brad. It's not necessarily the accent, it's the syntax that's really hard, because depending on the region you are, they smash words together. So it's really interesting, you know, you're just hearing peanut butter, but it's peanut butter. Because they're smashing it together, you know, where they accent dance. So it was syntax. But, you know, our actors are fans, so when it got too heavy, brogue, or whatnot, or they were going too fast, there was just, you know, okay, let's just slow that down and separate a little bit. It wasn't an issue.
We got several takes of every line, and then we worked on it in Pixar, and our editorial team was like, what do we understand, what works for us? But we definitely we liked the accent, we wanted the accent, we know our audiences are smart, and they'll figure it out, and if they don't know exactly what's said, we try to make sure that the animation is compelling enough that you get the gist of it, yeah. You get the meaning.
I know, skinny dipping in the lock was pretty memorable.
We did not all do that, some people did that.
It was pretty memorable, whether you did it or not.
I do think that, actually you're right, it was memorable even as an onlooker. It's like, this is the team I'm going to manage.
They're all, whoa!
No, you know, I would say that, it's funny you pointed to the lock, but that first Scotland research trip was in 2006, that was very special because it was the first time we really connected story to place in a real way. In our heads, it made sense back in Emeryville, California, this is Scottish set adventure. It was not until we got there, saw it, smelled, you know, saw the skies changing, touched it, and listened to the rhythm of the accents and the people and the storytellers that we really sort of got it, why there is such folklore and legend and even magic tales from that region. It's a real thing. We can feel it, and also there's, of course, an amount of bonding that happens on that trip when 12 gentlemen are sharing a dorm room together or whatever, that makes you go into battle with each other for a long haul, and you stick together because you know you're family by then, and boy were you guys family. And
closer than brothers.
You need to be. These movies are a marathon, not a sprint, and you're in it, and you want to be with this community of people. So there's a closeness formed there as well.
Yeah, one thing that I really brought back is that there's a story in Scotland about everything. We'd just be traveling along the road, I'm all, hey Bob, what about that tree? He's all, that tree's where they tied up Cahulan, the warrior Calvin, and he did it. Well, what about that mountain? That's where the giants fell dead after they were beaten to death by the Blarina. What about that lake? I kissed my first girlfriend in that lake, and she was a selkie, and she ran away with the fairies. I mean, everything had story that you're just going, when you're working on an original film, you're going, what the hell, where the hell do I start?
It's all research, research, research. Every Pixar film, you know, we do our research. In our case, we went to Scotland twice, and we went way, way deep in. You know, we touched everything. We stole heather. We brought it back with us. You know, we smelled the smell, looked at the skies, and talked to locals and heard the rhythm of the language. All of that was really important. Sketching, drawing, photograph, video. Brought it all back and looked at it in Emeryville, California, and tried to create this world that was very much hand in hand. Like Meredith says, the land is much a part of us as we are of it. We really wanted this character in the movie of Scotland. It would not work, this movie, you know, wouldn't work on, you know, a neighborhood on Hollywood Boulevard. You've got that tie to the land and the ruggedness of it and the changingness, the change of it. You've got the diverse landscape, which is a place where change happens.
Yeah, and you know, we also didn't want to design it so that it was super graphic, you know, and slick, because then you wouldn't get a sense of Scotland at all, because it is such a place of texture and variation. That became part of the look. So just kind of achieving that and doing a hyper-realistic sense of that, you know, I mean, the trees twisted in Scotland, we twisted them even more. You know, the standing stones are big, we made them gigantic, you know. There's mist around everywhere. I smoked the set, you know. We put atmosphere in every aspect of Brave to get that look, because here we have an opportunity to not just put in some fantasy place, you know. It's Scotland, and it's an ancient Scotland, and we want to transport the audience there. So if you've ever been to Scotland, you go, yep, that's right. And if you've never been to Scotland, now that when you go, you're going to go, wow, just like in Brave.